When our firstborn son was 7 years old, he came down with the flu. He was achy, he was nauseous, he was fever, lasted for about a week, until one symptom came along that just didn't seem right. He had joint pain. He had pains that he said were coming from his legs. So about 24 hours later, we would find ourselves behind a sliding glass door in the emergency room of Chalk Children's Hospital. And it would be there that I would unknowingly spend my last few hours oblivious to our new reality. A doctor would ask me to step out sometime after, and he would, as I stepped out of this sliding glass door to my right, I see that many doctors have gathered in white coats, never a good feeling. And to the left, I'm being asked to sit in front of a computer screen. And as I sit, that computer screen reads, Coben Swanson, 341-7830, a medical record number that sadly I would come to memorize. The doctor would begin to explain to me, when we measure blood samples, we look at the red cells, the white cells, the plasma, and this other category. And currently, Coben's blood is falling at 96% other. He is in critical condition. It is imperative that we move him upstairs immediately. Is there someone that you can call to be with you? Definitely words that no parent should ever have to hear, especially alone. Within the week to follow, my son would not only be diagnosed with cancer, he would suffer a major brain bleed, resulting in him being paralyzed, blinded, sitting in a medically induced coma, leaving us to question whether or not he would make it through many, many nights. Around my neck tonight, I wear only 1 year's worth of my son's beads of courage. For those of you familiar, those are every poke, every chemo represent a bead. This is simply 1 year. After months of grinding, we found ourselves in the grinding, meaning my son learning to walk again, talk again, eat again, move again on his own. We found ourselves in the exact same scenario that we had been 7 years prior, about to leave the hospital for the very first time with our firstborn son, except this time he had cancer. He was suffering from the side effects of cancer, and he was now missing a large portion of his skull due to a craniectomy. Because of the swelling in his brain, they had to remove a large portion of the bone. It was then that we truly learned, again, no one was coming to our rescue. No one was going to come with us and take care of him from our home. So we found out very quickly that there wasn't as much help as maybe most people think there is in this medical world. I have my own classification, so if I offend anybody, I apologize. But from a receiving end, I've kind of combined it down to about 3. We hear about money being donated to medical research, but for parents living it, you generally don't see it firsthand. You don't necessarily feel the benefits. Secondly, I like to call them toys and joys. This is where toys come in. Of course, who doesn't want to donate a toy to a child with cancer? But sometimes they begin to come in excess, and then you're drowning in them. And lastly, what I notice to be wishes and dishes. You can either apply for this once-in-a-lifetime amazing opportunity, but you get it once, or you can go through lots of hoops, fill out lots of paperwork in order to get maybe dishes or $50 gift card for gas, things like this. So I found myself asking, what about now? How do I, as a parent, what resources do I have to give my son quality of life now that he deserves during his battle? Something to keep him going every day. It was within the Max Love Project. It's a grassroots wellness organization that we found in Southern California, where almost every family, we learned, was a part of Team Impact. As you learn in the video, I questioned myself of whether or not it was something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to push my son into something that he wouldn't be able to handle. But we would watch other children, especially on social media, our friends that we had made in the hospital, playing with their teammates. In fact, we would see teammates roaming the halls, coming to visit the children, to sit with them during their chemo infusions. So finally, we broke down and said, all right, we're going to give this a try. Now, within weeks, we were paired with Cal State Fullerton Titans. Words cannot express to you how quickly we became bonded with them. Whether this is everyone's experience with Team Impact, I do not know, but for us, it only took one meetup where Coben nervously sat on the edge of the table, and halfway through, he saw that these guys were so focused on him, they wanted to know about him, that he soon asked to move to the center of the table. It was soon after that we met the Titans on Goodwin Field for an off-season practice, where my son, at the end of practice, expressed a desire to run the bases. Keep in mind, he had just learned to walk again. So when he expressed the desire, I genuinely did not think that he had it in him. In fact, I asked Tristan, some of the other guys, to go behind him with a wheelchair and just said, fingers crossed, I hope he can make it. But it was that day that our lives changed. You guys saw in the video, just a small clip, if you guys even understand the importance of watching our son run those bases. He was so motivated by what his teammates were doing that he ran not once, but 3 times around those bases. He might have stumbled, he might have fallen, but every time he got up and he had those teammates right next to him, and that connection was immediately then made. So despite our hectic hospital schedules, we made a point to join with the Titans and have them part of our weekly routine. In fact, Tuesday nights became family dinner night at our house. There was a lot of Lego building marathons. As Coben says, they're not very good at it. There was a lot of Wii sports, also again, Coben beating college guys on Wii, and many, many more times around those bases. So if you were to ask Coben outright, he's most likely to tell you, I don't even like baseball. So there's a minimal amount of guilt from a parent standpoint when you're pushing your child to do something that you know could have so much impact and power over him, even though he may not want to do it, especially when they're in a fragile state. But after seeing that Coben being around the team wasn't just a benefit to Coben, but it was a benefit to all of his teammates, that guilt subsided. When the team comes to me and says, there's been a lot less complaining since Coben joined the team. The guys talk about rough days. They don't talk about rough days anymore because there's no way a rough day to them could compare to a rough day that Coben has had. And when I see my son eagerly sitting on his iPad, especially now that we've moved away from our Titans, eagerly awaiting that FaceTime call to connect with those guys, that to me, that connection is what team impact is all about.